put an end to all of your activities. The MMA world just exploded like a grenade in a fireworks factory. So forget about your coffee, your emails, and your boss screaming at you about deadlines. And where did the explosion occur? With a threat so vicious that it makes WWE trash talk sound like Sesame Street sing-alongs. Cris Cyborg, the woman whose fists have rebuilt careers, stepped up and screamed at Dakota. Cyborg went beyond simply claiming to have defeated Dakota. She turned it up to nuclear. Oh no. Dakota, I'll be *TCH your hype. I'll kill you. That isn't promotion or hype. Rather, it's a real verbal sledgehammer wielded by one of the most terrifying combatants on the planet, Dakota, too. She doesn't blink. She is not going to back down. She is standing there, defying Cyborg to act like a statue made of marble by Zeus himself. This goes beyond beef. This is an ego-damaging, career-threatening, gladiator-level collision course that makes the Kardashians' trivial Instagram arguments seem like a brawl between two children over Legos. You'll be wondering not just who wins, but also who lives at the end of this story, so grab some popcorn, a stress ball, and possibly your therapist. Combat sports can produce rivalries that are so insane and flammable that they become more than just a fight. They become an earthquake. That's precisely what happened when Cris Cyborg, a legendary figure who has destroyed entire promotional firms' egos and shattered bones with her presence, directed her ire at Dakota Ditcheva. Let's establish the scene. The blonde, savage Dakota Ditcheva has been soaring to fame and beaten, unstoppable, and exuding the air of the next big thing. She's the fighter who enters a cage as if she owns it, and recently, she has been accumulating more publicity than Jake Paul has lawsuits. However, hype can be harmful. Jealousy is a result of hype. No one in MMA is better at destroying excitement than Cris Cyborg, and hype makes you a target. This is the woman who forced opponents into early retirement with punches so forceful they could have been considered natural disasters, crushed Gina Carano, and harassed Julia Budd. Therefore, when Cyborg announced the volcanic threat, "I'll cut through your hysteria. Dakota *TCH. I'll murder you," the MMA community was not shocked. It let forth a scream. It wasn't simply trash talk, after all. Wrapped in words and given with the assurance of someone who has previously buried careers deeper than Atlantis. This was a death sentence. The initial responses were chaotic. Like shaken Coke cans, fans exploded. "Pray for Dakota" was the caption of one tweet that went viral. Cyborg writes obituaries rather than threats. Imagine waking up to the words, "She'll kill you," from another fan. I would relocate. This is when it becomes delicious, though. Dakota remained unflinching. Don't be afraid. Don't stutter. Tour without apology. Instead, she essentially replied, "Bring it," as she gazed directly into the storm. "I'm prepared." The internet was split in two by this response. Dakota's confidence was met with loud laughter from the Cyborg army, who labeled her delusional, naive, and next in line for a headstone. Ditcheva supporters, on the other hand, were promoting her as the chosen one and the woman who would ultimately bring down the unstoppable Cyborg empire. All of a sudden, this was a culture war rather than just a possible altercation. New versus old school. A budding star versus a veteran. Dreamer versus destroyer. Everyone was aware that something unattractive, noisy, and memorable was going to happen. Words like, "I'll kill you," that make their way into the MMA lexicon spread like radioactive radiation into popular culture. And this danger, yes, it became popular on TikTok more quickly than a cat meme. Stars couldn't help but join in. "Now that's how you sell a fight," tweeted Conor McGregor, the notorious trash talk king. An hour later, of course, he removed it, but not before screenshots circulated. Never one to miss a headline. Jake Paul wrote on Instagram, "Cyborg versus Dakota. I'll watch it if you put it on Netflix." In a podcast, even Shaquille O'Neal, yes, Shaq commented, "Dakota got guts." Cyborg's hands shook. This is a documentary. Waiting to happen, not a battle. What about the memes? The memes? My goodness. In one widely shared image, Dakota, who had been altered to appear as Simba from The Lion King, was seen standing valiantly atop Pride Rock, with Cyborg dressed as Scar roaring, "Run away and never return." Cyborg's visage was photoshopped onto the Grim Reaper in another, and it knocked on doors with the names of fighters she had destroyed, including Carano, Bud, and Koinen. What about the next door, Ditcheva? Hashtags such as #Cyborg v Savage, #Prafrotoda, and my personal favorite, #Obituary Pending, were created by fans. Edits showing Dakota training in slow motion as dramatic music played were all over TikTok, with captions such "training for her funeral" or "for her legacy." But the indignation simmered behind the humor. Cyborg came under fire from critics for going too far. Saying "I'll kill you" was more than just slurs. It was a threat that might damage the sport's image. Talking heads on ESPN discussed it as if it were a presidential scandal. Dana White is missing the biggest pay-per-view since McGregor versus Khabib if he doesn't book this fight tomorrow. One commentator stated. Dakota, meanwhile, leaned into the confusion. She shared a mysterious Instagram story with the message, "Savages don't fold," and just the lion and crown emojis. The fans lost it. Not only was her confidence unfazed, it was boosted. The story was now about Dakota's refusal to submit, not merely about Cyborg's threat. People suddenly wanted to see more than simply a battle. They had to witness the struggle. The internet transformed it into a movement, a must-see story, a collision that was necessary to prevent the universe from feeling unfinished. This is when the real brutality begins. Not in the cage, but rather in the aftermath of Cyborg's remarks, exploding around the MMA universe. Reputations come first. Although Cris Cyborg has always been a frightening character, her threat elevated her reputation to a new level. She is now viewed by some as the ultimate evil, the female MMA equivalent of Darth Vader, menacingly hanging over the division. Others see her as the executioner, the truth teller, poised to reveal Dakota as simply another hype job that will ultimately fail. In contrast, Dakota Ditcheva changed completely in a single day. In her followers' views, she transformed from a rising prospect to a warrior queen. Her refusal to recoil from Cyborg's remarks gave her an air of confidence. If not recklessness, but she was unquestionably captivating. She became a symbol for young fans, the underdog who had the courage to laugh while facing the boogeyman. The business repercussions followed. Blood was detected in the water by promoters, Bellator, PFL, UFC. All of a sudden, everyone wanted to be involved in this feud. Blockbuster cards with million-dollar payouts began to circulate. According to one insider, pay-per-view estimates for a possible battle between Cyborg and Ditcheva were astronomical. However, the true repercussions were cultural. The extent of trash talk was a topic of discussion on talk shows. Parents argued that MMA was giving children the wrong impression. Philosophers on Twitter created threads that likened the threat posed by cyborgs to the insults of old gladiators. It evolved into a morality play that transcended athletics. The biggest cliffhanger of all occurred when Dakota doubled down. "Cyborg wants to kill me," she said on live television. "She had better bring a whole army, since I don't pass away easily." That single sentence ignited the internet once more. Supporters let up a yell. Analysts passed out. According to reports, Cyborg chuckled and remarked, "Excellent. I am going to bring 2 armies. The entire globe is now waiting." The confrontation seems inevitable. The hype train lacks brakes and the threats are unfiltered. One thing is certain, regardless of whether this ends in victory, tragedy, or the most outrageous battle of the decade, Cris Cyborg's declaration that she would murder Dakota Ditcheva will never be forgotten. And there you have it, the verbal earthquake that rocked the world of mixed martial arts. Cris Cyborg versus Dakota Ditcheva. A rivalry so unfiltered and poisonous that it makes all other feuds seem like pillow fights in high school. In addition to calling her out, Cyborg declared war, vowing to shatter Dakota's illusions and bury her legacy deep. Dakota, though, she's not running, I see. She's not hiding. With the kind of assurance that either creates legends or composes obituaries, she is stepping directly into the flames. It's your time now. Leave your most ambitious guesses in the comments section below. Does Dakota stand a chance of surviving the Cyborg storm, or will her name be added to Cyborg's list of victims? Hit the like button as if it has just treated you disrespectfully in front of your pals. Get a subscription to Boxing Room, where controversies are cooked, analyzed, and served hotter than McDonald's coffee. In this circus we call combat sports controversies, and we both don't sleep. So don't forget to push the notification bell like it's due. Keep an eye out, because if this fight takes place, it will be a historic massacre rather than simply another card game. What if it doesn't? Do not be concerned. There's already another scandal simmering, waiting to slam into your feed like a rogue train. In MMA, excitement creates kingdoms, but one threat from Cris Cyborg can destroy them all. Legends Boxing, signing out.